Uh-huh.
That's right.
Life Biscuits.
Straight out of the oven.
Goddamn cookies up, yo.
Word.
Gotta have them Bikkies.
Cookie Monster rates us. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you going this evening? I am Glenn Martin.
I am Chris Lau.
And we are your hosts for our debut podcast called The Life Biscuits Show. Tell us a little bit about Life Biscuits, Christopher Lau.
Well, Life Biscuits. Look, it's a little bit of a project that we've come up with, and it's an accumulation of the things that we've been reading, and I guess it's essentially things that we've picked out that we think are really fundamental to maximizing our potential. We've gone on this journey, and we've sort of been reading, cultivating. We started talking to each other, and we found these things super useful, and we've been bouncing off each other, and we've just been like, hey, this stuff is really good, and I think everybody needs to start hearing this. And from there, we built up, started chatting, built up a little bit of a practice, meeting up every week, and this is sort of the official version of it. We want to share what we think are some really important bits of information. Our tagline is snack size wisdom, life size impact, and so Life Biscuits is that, an accumulation of things that we think are important. There's 13 of them. 13
Definitely.
biscuits.
13 Bikkies for life. To skeech a little from old Jordan Peterson with his 12 rules for life, we've gone with 13 Bikkies. And look, as you mentioned, it started a couple of, probably 3 or 4 years ago now. And we started really getting into some stuff through our sports coaching and running sports programs with groups of kind of teenage kids, and getting into some John Wooden, reading his stuff, and really just going, we are all about this character development. Supersedes performance type mentality of our program, and it's just really grown from there.
We were seeing, we're both high school teachers, and we were seeing some of our kids just not take advantage of the opportunities and maximizing life in itself. And we're like, there's got to be more. And I'm if you're listening to this right now, you're probably like, yeah, man, I want to get the most out of life. I want to maximize my potential, and this is the podcast for you.
Yeah, definitely. Look, no judgment on those kids, and I mean the majority of them that we've coached over the years, it's rare that you get that kid who's like, I want growth, and I want excellence and all that sort of thing. Well, most of them want it, but they don't want to go through the dailies of doing it. And that's no judgment on them, because I was very similar back. We haven't really fully matured until our kind of mid to late 20s, which is where for us it started to take off. We're hoping to regardless of what age you are when you're listening to this, if you're an adolescent, we want hopefully to shortcut the process for you, so that you don't wait until your late 20s before you start figuring this out, or perhaps later. And if you're a bit older, then right now is the time for you, and you're probably more in a position to really receive the stuff that we're going to be talking about, and take it on board and get into it straight away.
And we're not saying we're experts in these fields. A lot of smart people have come up with the stuff that we've sort of just collated, and we're hoping that we can show a bit of humility and vulnerability, and bring you along this journey with us, because it's also a journey for us as well. We're trying to improve and maximize
for sure
our life.
Definitely, we are on the journey. We're on the path. You might be ahead of us in a lot of these biscuits. You might be near where we are, or you might be behind where we are. But regardless, we're all on the path somewhere. But we are by no means the authority on this stuff. But from gobbling up these Bikkies, so to speak, to use that analogy, personally I have, and I know that you have from talking to you, just found a lot of benefit in applying it and reflecting upon the sort of things that we're going to be talking about, the ideas, the concepts, quite regularly, sees you slowly but surely apply it into your life and change your life. So can you give us a quick intro to yourself, just so our listeners can get to know who you are, just a 1 minute synopsis of Lowy?
As you know, my name is Chris. I am a male, 28 years old. I am, my parents are Malaysian, so I have an Asian ethnicity. I have a twin brother. Both teach HP. I'm a science teacher.
When you say both teach HP, not your brother.
Not my brother.
Sounded like your brother teaches HP.
That's correct. Recently adopted, rescuing a dog. It's something new that's in my life at the moment. So I don't have any kids, which is directly opposite, I guess, to what Glenn will bring to the table. But I do have a dog, so I guess that's a bit of a perspective. I am an atheist. I am a vegetarian. That's just a little bit of the tip of the surface. I enjoy outdoors. I like hiking. I like being active.
Cool. All right, and then on the other side of the table, my name's Glenn, and I'm 37 next month. Still, I'll call myself 36. Seeing as that's what I am. I have a beautiful family. I've got a wonderful wife who I may refer to in different episodes. So if you hear me talking about Hayley, then that's who I'm talking about. And then 3 gorgeous daughters. Josie is 7, Greta is 5, and Brielle is 1. So life is very much about them at the moment. I probably, again, in opposed to you, I'm a Christian. I am, a meat eater. Although I have been through a vegetarian phase very briefly, and am totally, have a soft spot for the vegetarians out there and whatnot. But damn that meat boy. Anyway,
so good.
Good on you for staying strong and whatnot. But basically, I just love this stuff. And it annoys my family sometimes. My 7-year-old rolls her eyes when I bring up quotes about how she could tackle situations. But I'm just big into the whole personal growth, trying to maximize my own potential and do better at life every day type of thing, which can be a bit draining on people living with me and around me all the time. But love to challenge myself, and that's who I am. So why are we doing this Life Biscuits journey? For me, again, as we've mentioned, we love it. The 13 Bikkies that we'll share with you, each kind of builds on the last, and they all kind of intertwine really nicely. And as we've kind of put them together, again, they're not new concepts. We've just packaged them up into our own little system. We just often say to each other, man, like, people need to know about this. Like, and it might come across, obviously. Yeah. Obviously, you need these things when you hear it. But so you might think it's common sense, but then we also take the adage that common sense is also not always common practice. And we want to make this type of stuff common practice in people's lives and our lives, and bring it into full focus. And do what matters most on a daily basis. So that's why I believe we're doing it. What about you, Larry?
Yeah, man. I think like you've touched on, all of these concepts are obvious, but they're also so important. And I think we both agree that we could apply all these concepts a little bit better, and there's always that room for improvement. And I think if you are willing, I think there's people out there who will benefit, even if they're just hearing one episode or one biscuit. Someone out there can benefit from this, and if they benefit, then they're going to improve their life, and then they're going to improve other people's lives, and then there should be this cascading, expanding, exponential, hopefully, change that can hopefully change the world for the better. Big term picture. But if it doesn't, if it's just one person, that's okay too.
Definitely.
Somebody somewhere will benefit from this, and that's why we're doing it.
Correct. One one person does, we're good with that. And we'd love to hear from you, solo person.
Yeah.
No, we think it might have a decent impact, but we're open to whatever.
It's good for us as well. I mean, sharing and going through this whole process makes us a bit more reflective and it helps us with our personal growth as well.
Yeah.
Not just other people, but also a little bit selfishly, our personal growth as well.
And if there's one reason to be selfish, in my opinion, it is growing ourselves. We believe that by, investing in our own character and building that, and the traits that we'll talk about within that, we are making the best and biggest contribution to others, our community, the world, as we interact with it, whether that's on a global scale or whether that's on a very micro, local scale within your own household. We think that this is the best way to have the biggest impact that you can. So we would say that you're probably asking the question, well, is this biscuit for me? And we say,
hell yeah,
absolutely. It might take a little bit of courage to listen to it, to listen to a couple of random 20 and 30 year olds going on about this stuff. But if you have a family, if you're in a relationship, if you have a job, if you're in a sporting team, if you interact with other people on a daily or weekly basis, if you want to increase your confidence, if you want to have a big future, if you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to test yourself, if you want to question things and get more friends and make more progress and be more influential and claim responsibility and get rid of excuses, and if you want to be a better decision maker and harness every moment in every day, then if you can answer yes to any of those things, yes, we think that you're going to love what we're talking about.
100%. So what are these podcasts going to look like? Well, our first 13, we're aiming for around about 40 minutes, and we'll talk about each of our major 13 biscuits. And then from then on, we'll sort of start delving into different topics. Like, we're planning on having a book club. I think we both agree in our second biscuit, Cultivate, that reading is super important, and we're going to try encourage you and help you along your cultivation journey by reviewing some books and taking away and just our key takeaways from those books.
I think a lot of people with if they've grown up a little bit, they'll know that reading is important, and we know that 80% plus of the general population don't read a book again after high school or after their formal studies have finished. And so we want to kind of flip that. But then again, people are like, I don't know what to read. So we're going to give you a springboard in that sense. And again, we haven't read every book that there is to read, but the ones we have read and that we will have to read will be a start for you, a start for us. And again, the ones that we have read, which is only, maybe a couple of dozen in the last few years, have got us jumping into different challenges in life. And so we want to pass that on to you.
Other sort of podcast topics will be some responses to some of our listeners, some questions that they have. We'll do some random topics that might be applicable to health and contemporary topics that might be occurring in the time. Speaking of contemporary topics, you may notice that some of our recordings might have some timeline inconsistencies. This isn't our first rodeo film and recording, and we had some technical issues with lost audio and that sort of stuff. So we've done some re-recording, and I think we're better for it because we've been able to add more things and talk about different aspects. So if you do notice them, great detective skills.
We have actually recorded all 13 so far. What you need to know about the biscuits is that each of them, you will note, is an acronym. So we come from the education sector, so we're very well versed in acronyms, and we were actually a little bit anxious to use them because we're like, people are overloaded with acronyms. But we decided, just for the sake of simplicity and to just jump off and get started and not use an excuse to not get started, let's go with the acronym. So each of our podcasts will have each of our Bikkies will have an acronym to follow, and we don't follow a script with that acronym. We know what each of the letters of that acronym stand for, but from that point, we're just chatting and spitballing. Each episode roughly 30 to 40 minutes in duration, so we hope that's snack-sized enough for you. It was hard to keep it shorter than that, hey? Because we just have a bit of a yarn, and we think it's important / beneficial stuff. So that's what you can expect. Tell us about the dunk.
So the dunk is the application part of the podcast. So we'll go through the acronym. We'll talk about the key concept involved with that Life Biscuit. But then the dunk is the section where we encourage you to apply that biscuit. Something that you can do that's quite easy as a springboard for, maximizing or improving that particular biscuit for that episode.
Obviously, we would say the dunk's really important, and we would challenge you to, and we make it pretty simple.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Yeah.
And so, we want to challenge you to get involved with that. The second part of that is, having recorded all of them already, if you wanted to interact and engage with an episode, let's say episode 2, if you were to engage with us, we can't necessarily respond in episode 3 because we've already recorded it. But what we'll end up doing, I think, Lowy, is, getting an episode 2A or something happening where we can just respond to feedback and get back to listeners. So if that's you, please do engage with us. We've got an email, which is lifebikkies@gmail.com. Bikkies has 2 Ks.
Yep.
If you're wondering how to spell Bikkies. And we also are on social media. If you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you just type in Life Biscuits, you'll see Duncan, who's our little mascot, who was drawn by Will Cripps. Shout out, Will.
Thanks, Cripsy.
A cool little dude, little Duncan. So you'll see a cute little biscuit there in a hat, probably doing a bit of a jump pose, bit of a Bluey type pose, if you know what Bluey is. So check out Duncan and be sure to follow us and leave a comment.
Yeah. So we'd love for you to join us on that journey.
Absolutely. We're also thinking of expanding a little bit, again, just to challenge ourselves and continue to apply our Bikkies with a bit of a, we talk about taking the time to reflect daily on the biscuits and on life. And how do we find time in our day to do that? And the commute we have found is a very beneficial way to, take an opportunity to do something productive. And we are spitballing. We haven't jumped on board with this yet, but we're spitballing, starting a little YouTube channel where Chris and Glenn get in front of their cameras while they're driving and just reflect on the day, and then bust it up onto the line. Yeah, on the line. And see what happens. So if you're keen to check out that, we will keep you posted on whether that's actually happening live in future episodes.
I'm so keen to get this started. Hey, this is... I'm ready to go, baby.
Now, if you're a student at our school at which we teach, we understand that we may have given you a detention that day or that you don't like us. And that's okay. We don't mind negative feedback. We'll probably ignore it unless you are in the ring with us. Not physically, but, unless you're out there being vulnerable as well, then we'll probably just be like, cool, noted, but we'll listen to people who are out there giving it a shot and expanding their horizons and expanding their bubble as well. Drop us a line though. We know some kids have been like, when's the show dropping? And we're like, oh,
it's coming, guys. It's coming.
Anyway, it's been wild.
Thank you so much for joining us for our pilot episode, and we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you guys in future episodes.
Definitely. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Time to go.
So delicious.
I'm feeling full.
Yum yum in my tum tum.
Gotta digest them Bikkies.